how families have to adapt for successful women. I set up my own business so that when she's deployed, we don't go one income down. So I think between us all, we have a fairly wide range of experiences in terms of gender equality or inequality and how this impacts everybody. Very quickly, we'll go through what your organizations have been doing and what successes you've had. Then we'll go to questions for a brief period.
I will actually not like to answer that question at all. I'm just gonna reflect on something. I know, I can do that too. But still, I want to reflect on something, and that is that the people who should change is not in the audience. I mean, I see women left, right, and center, and you guys are already on board in changing stuff. So it's more about giving you the tools so that when you go home to your company, how can you inspire change in your company? Not trying to change you guys, because this is like preaching to the choir. Now, what was the question again?
What are you doing?
Sigrid?
Go.
I think you're spot on. I think the people that we should be talking to are sadly down at Aker Brygge or Tjuvholmen are out there now doing business.
Yep.
And yes, it's important that women support each other and come together. But we also need to remember to take the opportunity to be where the business is actually done. Gain commercial working experience day to day. I think that was one we found in Western Bulk, a dry bulk operator, as being a fairly big challenge day to day. We have so many amazing, back office, operations, support staff, legal staff, many of whom could do trading, chartering, commercial roles, standing on their heads, quite frankly. But they need a little bit of a push or a nudge, and also companies that need to, forego sometimes their star operators and say, actually, we'll give them the chance. And work-life balance as well is brought up. I mean, honestly, shipping is a 24-hour business, but again, women working support roles are much more often woken up in the middle of the night than the people that actually do the day-to-day broking or trading or our principals and everything. So I think we just need to put ourselves out there a little bit more and take the opportunities that come to also take P&L responsibility, first of all, if we get the chance.
Can you please say something positive about what you've done? No one's
We have started to measure the situation, and we have asked our members about the numbers, and they tell us that we have a job to do. Within the members of Norwegian Shipowners Association, the share of women in top management positions is about 15%, both in the board and in the top management. And as seafarers, we have only 5%. So we have a job to do. We have to put up the goals, and we have to recruit more women into into the top position.
I read your report. You sent it to me, and help me out here, man. You've done some good work. You are measuring percentages.
Yeah, we are measuring.
Give me some. What's the success story?
Within the industry or
with you? For you, your.
Yeah, within my organization, we have luckily 50% women within the Norwegian Shipowners Association. But when I took over as CEO, I had 0 women within my leader group, and we now have 2 women in that leader group. So it is about you have to put up some goals, and you have to recruit women as leaders, and also as to broaden the image of our industry.
Yep.
I also think that we have to start also a little bit on the bottom, and I think we all have a responsibility, also us women in the shipping industry, to get more women in the shipping industry, and we have to start make them take maritime education. We have to make them understand what an exciting business this is, and there's already a lot of good programs. WISTA, they have a mentor program. I know that in Maritime Bergen they have also this Kvinner i Kuling, where they introduce the shipping world to young students, and this is the way forward. I think we have to get them coming in from the bottom, and then we have to make it possible for them to go further up.
It's a marketing problem. It always is.
What you wanted to hear what we've done?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have tried, sometimes succeeded, in promoting women to take on leadership position in commercial roles, not just the back office roles, which is where most of them work. It is a harder sell to get a woman to really acknowledge her own strength. Then you know the story that you can ask a guy about anything and he will say, of course I can do it. And you can ask a woman, can you please do, you're the best at this. No, I'm not sure, I just can't do it. And that's not just the case here in Norway, but particularly internationally, it's an even harder sell. But it's so nice to see when people succeed in doing that. And that's probably the most important work we can do. Open up the industry also internationally for females. And to do that, we need to have a few things in place, which we try to do with small steps, but still. One thing is work-life balance, which everybody is talking about and is necessary. It's often said that women need work-life balance. Everyone needs work-life balance. If you are to have a family and a career at the same time, well, you need to have some flexibility at stages of your life. You need to have proper paternity, maternity, or parental leave issues, which is here in Norway it's not an issue, but in India or in China, in Japan it can be. So we've introduced that to all our staff worldwide. Big success. And I think it's an important both motivational tool, but also a tool to ensure that people actually stays on and not exits when they get a family.
Well, I think an interesting success story. There's no benefit here for me, I guess. The US Navy has 19% officers, 18% enlisted now amongst their entire workforce. The Air Force is now 21 and 20%, I think. So similar industries can do this. Whereas there is hope out there. There is a good story. Questions? You promised.
Do I need a mic?
Do we have a mic? Facebook.
Hi, my name is Ali Cedeno, and I'm the founder of Women Offshore, also a female seafarer. And I receive messages from women who are brand new into fleets. Those fleets have never had a woman before. They're at the frontier, and some of these women are struggling, and they reach out for resources, understanding. And as diversity initiatives come out more and more across the world, and women are at this frontier, I want to know, what would you say to them when they're being told, well, you took a job away from my friend, you're only here because you're a woman? What would you say?
I want to answer that. We have 1,400 seafarers employed. Not too many women. We have enough to crew 1.5 ships. So we're growing. And we have our first female chief officer and hope to be promoted captain pretty soon. And what you're talking about is sadly an example of culture and attitude. So if we hear about this, we would fire the guy who told her something like that. But what we would also try to do is to make sure that it's not easy being a young woman alone on a ship. So it's always good to be at least 2 on every watch. That's a key thing for having a good social life on board the vessel. And you can never guarantee anything, but you can at least be quite firm on the culture thing. And you need to sort of help people get the best possible start. So at least 2 on every shift, that's one thing we try to do at least. And encourage women to sort of give them a little nudge. And sometimes you need a push to make them take the step forward and sort of apply for the jobs. That's our experience at least.
Ooh, Hoegh, yes. Right at the back.
I'm coming.
Hi, my name is Hoegh Solberg. I've spent the last 3 decades in shipping, so I have quite a long experience. I just have a question to the CEOs in the panel, because I know that getting women into the shipping industry requires change management. You have to run a change management process, and that takes time. It's a cultural thing that you need to embed in the organization, it's attitude, etc. And you can't just say that we are trying to do it and we put a woman in that position or that position. to be able to have a true diverse company, you need at least 40% of either gender to be a cultural thing in the organization. So my question to the panel is, what are you physically doing apart from trying to hire a woman in one position or the other?
And if you'd answered my original question, you wouldn't have had to answer Hoegh's directly, so paying right back at you. You can start, mate.
What was a shift here now when Ivar started talking about what you could actually do, put at least 2 women on watch, etc. Now this is more direct in answering what tools can you actually employ right now. There's been a lot of talk about how we do culture and blah 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 about this gender inequality and diversity. I'll give another one. Because I come from the recruitment business before, and I read about 22,000 CVs. I recruited more than 2,000 people via 6,000 interviews. So I talked to a lot of people. And I know how women reads a job ad. And I've written thousands of job ads. And most job ads I see are crap. They really suck. And the reason is this. You put down, these are the skills requirements, these are the responsibilities, then there's a list of requirements. And men, like you said, Ivar, go like this. Yeah, I never done that. That looks like a cool challenge. Oh, I'd like to try this one. Oh, that looks fun. Never done that. And they go, oh, I'll send my CV. Whereas a woman go, oh, I've never done that before. I can't do that. And this is not me. And oh my God, I can't apply. So, the first thing you do, you stop making crappy job ads. What you do when you write a job ad, which is really good, is that you explain the job and you explain the expectations of what you're going to deliver. Skip the skills requirements, skip the responsibilities, just what are you going to deliver and what is the actual work environment. That is what you do. So that's how you stop sort of discouraging women to actually apply for the position. Next thing, when you do the recruitment process, have at least 2 genders. I did say that, at least 2 genders into the process, because men and women see different things in a candidate. So I always did this. When we acquired 97.4% recruitment success in the company I was running, that was one of the key factors. Always 2 genders in the interview process. And it doesn't mean that the women will always pick the women. That's not the point. But they will see different things. They will see the candidate more holistically. So this is stuff you can actually do tomorrow. Now I'll give you a challenge. If you have job ads that you're going to put out, I will do a freebie. I will give you 3 job ads. The people that come to me, I will rewrite your ads from being sucky to being excellent.
And there are 100 of you here, which means he has 300 ads.
No. I'm saying the 3 people that comes first, I will help you out.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
That's what you heard.
Right.
So anyway, I'll do that. So to get in contact with me, I'll do that for free.
Good. Next. Anyone else with an answer?
Well, if I may say something, I think for future conferences, whether internal, industry-wide, perhaps try to focus on having more diversity in expert panels rather than panels on diversity, maybe, as a way to really get women up there and engaged. And they might not have all the qualifications on paper, but then they will really show that they are truly equal, and hopefully in a few years we won't have to have any panels like these anymore. That should be the end goal.
But what will the guy from Transist do? Sorry, is he here? No. Right, I think we'll move on very quickly to things that have... I'm terribly sorry.
Yes, hello, my name is Escorial. Just a reflection and with respect to your question with your women on the fleets and the comment from the guy saying you took the joke from my friend. I'm a bit surprised when listening into this session the last 2 hours that I have never heard anybody saying that we have mentor course or training for men to actually take this woman on board. We always talk about that women needs to go on courses, training, etc., but what about the men within the firm and in your branch? are they expected to actually learn about this? And to your comment about the audience in this room, where are the men within shipping?
I'm actually going to answer that one first. When I worked at Masterbulk, when we brought women cadets onto the vessels, we provided members training. And that was, I mean, Nick Fisher was the CEO at the time, was very, very good about that in terms of realising it was a culture change on board and that the crew on board had to understand that and be guided through it. Anyone else?
But I agree that we obviously have to work with the culture within our companies and increase the acceptance of that there is difference between the genders, and there is a job to do there. I think we are on the right direction. There is the awareness on this increases in the industry, especially here in Norway. We have good discussions on this within the industry, and so the awareness is increasing, and we are on the right direction. But we have a lot to do on the culture side and attitudes.
If I may add something, I'd love to see some unconscious bias training within the shipping media. I think it would be great if we could either stop asking newly appointed female executives on how they plan to balance their new responsibilities with family life, or at least start then asking male executives the same questions, for example.
I agree with that, and I also agree with Ivar that the work-life balance is equally important for men as women, because we all have family and we need to have a good balance in our life, everyone. So that's a question of culture within the company, and we can work on that.
Siri, you've been painfully quiet. So I'd like you to share some things with the audience around your career and the things you talked about.
We are very fortunate in Norway, and that I think that most women actually have a chance to do what they want to do and work with what they want to do. I don't think it's like restrictions not allowing them. And personally, I never seen myself as a woman in shipping. I have just started in an industry that I loved, and I had a job, and I did my job, and I worked hard. But of course, you come to a point, especially if you want to have a family, and I think that a lot of women, they actually choose also not to have a career because, to forego their family, because it is a choice. And you have to, if you want to have, be in a management, in a shipping company, you have to work a lot, and you have to travel. And you're going to have to miss children's birthday, you're going to have to miss school meetings, you're going to have to miss a lot of things. And I think that is also, it's also a conscious choice that you have to do. Or you have to have a partner that is equally supporting, like the work balance works for both gender, So I think it's not only restrictions, I think women also have they are a little bit the worst enemy, I think, because we want to be perfect in everything we do. We look at Facebook and we want to be we want to have a good career, but we want to be in perfect shape and run all the mountains. We want to be a perfect mom and a housewife and cook, and it's impossible to be perfect in all those arenas. So I have a job, but I have also have a choice that I have to have somebody, an au pair that lives with me and helps me take care of my daughter, and that's a choice. And I'm missing out on a lot, but for me, I love my job, and I think it's very exciting, and it's worth it. And I hope that one day my daughter will forgive me for not always being there.
Yeah, my daughter's birthday was on Monday, and I was here for North Shipping. If you miss birthdays, choose the ones they won't remember. The questions have gone really well, so let's just keep them coming.
So,
Sorry.
Birgit in the room here. Harald, I have one for you. Do you have to stand up? Okay, great. So, getting Norwegian Shipping and the Shipowners Association on board the Shindex actually required us first launching it in India. But now that you're on, how can you play a key role on getting the other national shipowners associations on board Shindex and other very specific initiatives? That's a very hardcore, direct challenge to you.
I actually know a lawyer in the audience if you want a lawyer to answer.
I don't need a lawyer. No, it's easy to answer. We will talk to them and encourage them to take part of this. And I think the awareness of the need for this industry to have a better image and also recruit broader internationally is increasing. So I think there will be an easy match to talk with them and also get more national ship owners associations on board to start measuring the situation.
We had a question here.
Good afternoon. My name is Liz. I'm from Kenya. I worked as a second pilot in the port, and now I'm back at sea as an officer on the bridge, third officer on cruise vessels. My question is to everyone out here on the panel. Now, I've been able to face both. That when I'm up on the bridge, I bring both a different culture, because I'm from Africa, and gender. However, what has not been addressed, as much as you can say you want two people to be on board, we can also accept that women cannot actually have it all because of the mental balance. How are you addressing mental health? Because I think women need to be talked to about these things. We really want to be perfect, as you said, but also it causes us to have mental imbalance, whereby we are really committed in making our jobs better and proving that we're really good at it, but we end up losing ourselves. And because we are trying to fight equality, we cannot cry in front of the men, so we just keep it in and keep it in.
I cry in front of men all the time.
Happy to go first. This is a very serious issue. Mental health among seafarers in general is a topic that deserves a lot more attention. In our company, we have put in place some basic programs, probably, but at least to talk about it, because being away from your family and your friends for months at a time is tough for everyone, whether you're a man or a woman. So to have a mentor program and someone to talk to and have an acceptance for the fact that the life can be tough, and it's not less tough when you're alone out on the high seas. I think that's the first step, and the first step is the most difficult one on every journey. So we've tried to do that as well, and so far the feedback from the crew is that it's something they appreciate, and it helps. So we try to focus on it on our internal communication towards the crew, etc. That's a very serious topic. But that's not a female topic. That's a seafarer's topic, right? That you.
I think generally because she also spoke of being a CEO. Sorry. I think generally because she also spoke about being a CEO, and that you have to find this balance where you want to be a good mother, you want your friends to see you good on Facebook, and you go out skiing, but you still look good. And you still want to have the right work-life balance, whereby you're the CEO, where they look at you as a CEO and not as a woman. Many women will not talk about it, but it really, really pulls them down mentally. So do you have like programs where they can have access to even a counselor who can talk to them? Because sometimes all we need to do is just share our problems.
Well, step one, quit social media. at least for a few days a week. And then I think after I was in my first management position for about a year, I went to my boss and I said, I need someone outside of the organization that can coach me, that can take me one step further, who can help me see problems a little bit from the outside, and eventually also give me confidence to trust my own instincts more. And I think that was a great investment for the company, and it was a great investment for myself. But you can't necessarily expect to be given, whether it's mentorship, and sometimes it's not about finding someone professional. Again, here you have WISTA, you have a great network of potential mentors, people to seek out. Find a good boss, find a good man as well. Again, when you have associations like WISTA, it's easy to stand in a group networking with the women you know in the room. You know, break up, divide and conquer as well. Find a man as well who can maybe teach you something different about the business or life, who knows. It's, you know, diversity, as I think you've mentioned several times now, it's not just about, you know, promoting women or women's rights. It is about building on each other's strengths, I think.
I'd like to challenge WISTA here, because when you down there talked about the potential course of training of men, aren't we looking at a potential project, WISTA project, to make training for men? That could be a course. That could be something that WISTA supply, potentially, or even, you know, what are the issues involved? Like the issue you talk about. How do we handle those things? When you have a person who is actually struggling on post, how do you handle that?
Can I reply to that one, please?
Yeah.
So Helen asked me to jump in here. As part of the SHE index that we conducted in India, we also did 2 separate surveys, one for women at sea and one for women on shore. We got a lot of data there, and then came this seed of an idea, which we're going to be launching in India, coming this September. It's going to be a leadership accelerator program for women in maritime, where companies will nominate mid-level women who have high potential and put them through this program. And it's exactly what you said. It's somebody outside the organization who's going to give them that mentorship. And we're not going to stop just there. We're going to also have the sensitization for the men as part of the thing. So I think when we come, together, I've got a lot of support from the Norwegian consulate in Mumbai, from Sandvik, which is a Swedish company. I think these collaborations and partnerships are very important. And while this concept is developed, and we're going to call it SHEEO, so more female CEOs, we're starting it in India, but I think this is a global problem. And maybe we could have a global program where women across the world would learn from each other. So we're going to be doing this September, and I'll be sharing the details with everybody. So please do support us. Thank you.
That's brilliant.
Excellent.
So I was working on board the vessels as chief officer in cargo, not in other things, but drawing on the things that Ali's talked about, when you have new cadets that are coming on board, especially when they're coming on board as the only female, which was the case for me in 2004. When I first got on a cargo ship, I was the only woman. And many times throughout my career, I've been the only. And how do you help people deal with that? Because you're representing everyone in this room. You're representing your entire gender. You're not just representing yourself when you're there.
Now this is real. That was really good. Because now we're diving into what is the real problem, and individually, like you said too. This needs to be addressed. Not just talk about culture and general thing and philosophy about diversity. We need to address the tiers. That's what we need to address. Now, one thing that you should remember is that I do a lot of coaching of people that are in dire straits in life, and usually I specialize in kids who try to not live, like do their best to cut themselves and kill themselves and stuff like that. And one thing I always realize is that most people try to change their environment. It's my dad that needs to be changing, or it's my sister, or it's the crew, or it's the management, or it's the CEO, or it's somebody else. Now, that never works. If you try to do that, you will work yourself to the ground. It only needs to start from you. You need to change. Whenever you think the environment needs to change, it's you that needs to change. And your attitude needs to change. This is a hard and very, very sad truth, but this is how it works. And the environment will follow suit. You will change the environment by changing your own attitude. Dalai Lama writes a lot about this, and he's very right about that. And there is a saying that goes, you don't become a horse by walking into a stable. you become hoarse by walking into the unstable. Keep going.
That's deep.
We should probably look to tie things up. Maybe a last piece of advice to the audience on careers, choices, message of hope.
Yeah, learn to fail. Learn to fail. Practice failing. Because then you get less stressed when you're going to fail. If you have failed 1,000 times before, the 1,001st time won't matter that much. So practice failing.
Get comfortable with risk and take responsibility and don't wait to be given it.
Yeah, don't try to be perfect.
Absolutely.
And I think we are heading in the right direction. The awareness increases.
Drive
Very
more cars.
practical. Stop scheduling meetings at the time when people are supposed to pick up their kids from school and kindergarten. That's a good start, I think. Good.
Across time zones.
Thank you very much.